In this video, we're going to do a couple more examples that have to do with simple interest. Now, with this first problem, I want to clear up something from the very first video from this section. So that video title was just simple interest. And about halfway through that video, we started talking about corporate bonds. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because there are a couple problems that I assigned in the MyMathLab homework where they just use the word bond. Okay, the problems are worded just like this example that I have here. They just use the word bond instead of corporate bond. But bond or corporate bond, they're really interchangeable as far as the calculations go. Now remember, corporate bonds are where when you buy a corporate bond, essentially you are loaning money to a company. And then when the bond matures, after however many years the bond matures or the life of the bond is over, they give you your money back. Okay, now of what use would that be to you, right? You're just loaning somebody money and they're giving you your money back a couple years later. Well, of course, what they'll be doing is giving you interest all along the way. And usually interest is paid semi-annually. Okay, so I don't want you to be confused by this word semi-annual. Now what that just means is twice per year. Okay, or in other words, once every 6 months. Is the same as semi-annual. Okay, so let's do this example. It says for a 3-year bond of $3,100 at a simple interest rate of 9% per year, find the semi-annual interest payment and the total interest earned over the life of the bond. Okay, so let's remember our formula. I is equal to PRT. The interest is what we're looking for. What's our interest payment every 6 months? The principal is $3,100. The rate is 0.09. And remember to put 0.09 for 9%. Don't just put 9 there. And the time, what's the T? Well, notice this is a 3-year bond, but I'm not going to put in 3 for T. Okay, because we're talking about getting interest every 6 months. Okay, or over a time period of 1/2 of a year. Okay, if we multiply this out, 3,100 times 0.09 times 1/2, what we end up with is 139.5. Okay, so what that means is that's your interest payment. $139.50 is what you will be paid every 6 months. Okay, now what is the total interest that you'll earn throughout the life of this bond? Well, we take 139.50 and multiply it by 6. Now, why 6? Well, this is a 3-year bond, and you're getting 2 payments per year, so you're getting a total of 6 payments. So 139.5 times 6, now you would need a calculator to do this, but it's 837. So $837 is the total amount of interest that you would get from this bond. Okay, one more problem. This is also almost exactly the same as a problem that I assigned in the homework from this section. It says Hannah took out a loan of $5,900 at 14% interest. And again, this is assumed to be simple interest. In future sections, we'll talk about compound interest. And eventually, she paid back $7,965 in principal and interest. And the question is, what is the time period of the loan? Okay, so now let's write a few things here. The A, okay, the amount in the future, that's $7,965. The P is the principal, that's the initial amount. And by the way, once we know these two things, we can figure out the total interest, right? Isn't the A equal to P plus I? Right, we can find the total interest. I think the interest is going to be a little more than $2,000, right? $2,065. But also we have R and T. Okay, now the rate we're given is 14%, so that would be 0.14. And the time, that's what we're looking for. Okay, what is the time period of the loan? Okay, so if we're given 3 of these things, we can find the 4th one. Okay, just using the formulas that we have. So we have this A equals P plus I. We also have I is equal to P times R times T. Okay, but first of all, let's use this top formula. 7,965 is equal to 5,900 plus I. Okay, so subtract 5,900 from both sides and you're going to see that I is $2,065. Okay, now that we know what I is, we can use this formula. I equals PRT, and we can say 2,065 is equal to the principal, 5,900, times the rate, which is 0.14, times the T. Okay, now to solve this for T, we would just divide both sides by 5,900 times 0.14. So we will get 2,065 divided by 5,900 times 0.14. Okay, so I just did some algebra, divided both sides of this equation by 5,900 times 0.14. Now, when I worked this out on the calculator, I got 2.5. So that means 2.5 years. That is the time period for the loan. Now, I do want to mention something you have to be a little bit careful of. If you're going to type this in your calculator, let me bring up a calculator here. If you're going to type in 2,065 divided by 5,900 times 0.14, be careful. If you just type in 5,900, so let's turn it on here, 5,900 divided by, sorry, I bring this down, 5,900 divided by, I'm sorry, 2,065, okay, divided by 5,900 times 0.14, notice what happens. Oh, I don't get 2.5. I got 0.049. Well, what did I do wrong? Well, you have to be a little careful here. What the calculator is interpreting this as is 2,065 divided by 5,900 and then times 0.14. In other words, it's almost like it's thinking that the 0.14 is on the top of the equation. Okay, but of course we know it's not. They're almost thinking of the 0.14 as being out here. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we could type in 2,065 divided by, and in parentheses you would put 5,900 times 0.14. Okay, and there you see it's 2.5. Now, another way to do this would just be to do the 5,900 times the 0.14 first. Okay, you get 826. Then do the 2,065 divided by that. Okay, so 2,065 divided by 826. And we get the correct answer, 2.5. Okay, so you always have to be a little bit careful when you're plugging things into the calculator, especially in this chapter when we're dealing with interest and simple interest, compound interest, and so forth.